My girlfriend writes to her ex that she misses him. I am angry. What should I do? I had been dating Lisa for about 8 months, with our relationship turning official 5 months ago. From the outset, everything seemed almost idyllic. We explored new places together, relishing in shared adventures, and enjoying each other's company with the carefree joy that new relationships often bring. We engaged in long, laughter-filled gaming sessions, indulged in movie marathons, and even integrated our lives enough to introduce each other to our families. It felt like a relationship scripted by romance novels, smooth, effortless, and perfect in nearly every regard. Well, almost perfect. Despite our many good times, there was a recurring issue that kept surfacing, one that added an unexpected layer of tension to our relationship: Lisa's crippling insecurities. They flared up unpredictably, transforming a pleasant day into a stressful one in mere moments. It could be as simple as me checking my phone, or a casual like on social media, and suddenly her demeanor would shift. She would get nosy, anxious, and sometimes outright accusatory about who I was following or what I was liking online. She'd even insinuate that I was hiding something from her, despite my best efforts to be transparent. I remember vividly the sting of these moments, like when we were at a park having a serene picnic under a large oak tree. Everything was perfect, the sun was setting, casting a golden hue over everything, and we were nestled together on a checkered blanket. I had just taken out my phone to snap a picture of the picturesque scene, and she suddenly asked, "Why are you on your phone? Who are you talking to?" Her voice, usually soft and melodic, was now tinged with suspicion. "It's just a photo, Lisa. I wanted to capture this moment," I replied, trying to keep my tone calm. But her eyes were narrowed, her suspicion already tainting the moment. These outbursts could range from minor annoyances to full-blown arguments, and they seemed to strike out of nowhere. We could be having a perfectly wonderful day, and then, out of the blue, she would latch onto something trivial and transform it into a matter of grave importance. I tried to handle these situations maturely, sitting her down and attempting to discuss her feelings and concerns. But more often than not, these conversations would end in frustration. She seemed unable to process my reassurances and explanations. It was as if her insecurities were a shadow that loomed over her, darkening any bright moment we shared. What made matters worse was that she seemed to believe these accusations wholeheartedly, despite having no grounds for them. One particularly jarring instance was when she started obsessing over my Twitter account, an account I barely used. "Who are these people you're following?" she asked one evening as we were watching TV. I looked at her, bewildered. "It's just random stuff, Lisa, cosplay, memes, video games. You know I'm into that." "Then why don't you ever talk about them?" "What do you mean? I do talk about them. I've shown you stuff before." "Not everything, apparently," she muttered, her arms crossed and eyes glued to the screen. It wasn't just exhausting, it was infuriating. I was doing nothing wrong, but her constant need to check and double-check my actions made me feel like I was on trial for a crime I didn't commit. The breaking point came last week. We had planned a trip to a nearby city to celebrate a special occasion, a much-needed getaway that I hoped would clear the air and strengthen our bond. A few days before our trip, I happened to check her Reddit account. She had mentioned her presence on the platform, and in a moment of curiosity, I decided to take a peek. What I found shocked me to the core. There, in black and white, were multiple posts in our breakups, dating over the past few months, about how much she still missed her ex. The ex she had told me had been abusive, the ex who had, according to her, thrown her away over a year ago. The most recent post was just days before our planned celebration. My heart sank as I read her words. She still missed him, felt torn, and was struggling to move on. The realization hit me like a freight train. All this time, while I had been fighting off her insecurities and trying to reassure her of my loyalty, she had been pining for a man who had treated her like dirt. Fury welled up inside me, but I tried to bury it deep down. I didn't want to ruin our upcoming trip, so I decided to suppress my feelings and deal with them later. But as our celebration unfolded, the inevitable happened. We were enjoying a lovely dinner at a quaint restaurant when Lisa made a comment that suggested she thought I was lying about something. I don't even remember what it was, about something trivial, no doubt, but it was the final straw. I snapped. I went off on her about the Reddit posts, unleashing all the pent-up anger and frustration I had been holding back. "How dare you accuse me of lying?" I shouted, my voice echoing through the small dining room. "How can you sit here and question my loyalty when you're the one still hung up on your ex?" Lisa's face went pale. She tried to explain, to apologize, saying she was still processing the breakup and didn't want him anymore. But her words felt hollow, and her tears only added to my frustration. "You're sorry," I demanded. "Do you have any idea how it feels to be constantly accused of things you haven't done, only to find out you've been secretly longing for someone else?" We returned to our hotel room in tense silence, the celebratory mood thoroughly shattered. As soon as we got inside, the arguments resumed. Lisa was crying, apologizing, and throwing her insecurities at me in equal measure. I felt like I was being suffocated by a wave of emotions: anger, betrayal, sadness. We both went to bed angry, the bed that was supposed to be a haven for romance now a battleground. The next morning, I woke up with a pounding headache and a sense of dread. I had a breakdown, unable to contain the storm of emotions swirling inside me. Lisa tried to comfort me, but her touch felt foreign and unwelcome. "Please, let's talk," she pleaded. But I couldn't even look at her. I felt like the ground had shifted beneath my feet, leaving me floundering in uncertainty and pain. As the hours dragged on, I felt trapped. We were miles away from home, and I was stuck in a hotel room with the person who had betrayed my trust. I didn't know what to do or where to go. The trip, which was supposed to be a celebration, had turned into a nightmare. I felt utterly miserable, and the hundreds of dollars I had spent on this getaway only added to the bitterness. Lisa kept apologizing, claiming she wanted to make things right, that she would do better, that she was sorry for everything. But her words felt like empty promises. The image of her longing for her ex was burned into my mind, and I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. How could I trust her again? How could I continue a relationship with someone who made me feel like the bad guy for no reason, only to find out she was still hung up on her past? I told her I needed time to process everything, and since then, I haven't seen her. She's been trying to talk to me online, sending messages and trying to mend things. But every time I see her name pop up on my screen, I feel a surge of anger and hurt. I find myself being short with her, unable to muster any warmth or affection. I'm still furious, and the pain of her betrayal lingers like a wound that refuses to heal. I'm at a crossroads, unsure of what to do. On one hand, I think about all the good times we've had, the connection we shared, and the future I once envisioned with her. But on the other hand, I can't ignore the pattern of insecurity and the recent revelation of her lingering feelings for her ex. It's a massive breach of trust, and I don't know if I can forgive her or if it's worth trying to salvage what we have. The thought of leaving her makes me feel empty and sad, but staying with her under these circumstances feels equally unbearable. I'm torn between the memories of our happier moments and the harsh reality of her actions. Part of me wants to give her another chance, to see if we can work through this and come out stronger. But another part of me feels like this is a red flag too significant to ignore, a sign that maybe our relationship is doomed. As I sit here, writing this, I'm trying to sort through my emotions, to make sense of the chaos in my heart. I know I need to talk to Lisa, to have a real conversation about everything that's happened. But right now, I'm too angry, too hurt, and too confused to even think about how to start that conversation. All I know is that I'm standing at the edge of a decision that will shape my future, and I'm terrified of making the wrong choice. I want to believe in the good we had, to hope that we can overcome this hurdle. But the pain of her betrayal, the weight of her insecurities, and the shadow of her past hang over me, making it hard to see a clear path forward. Maybe time will bring clarity. Maybe I'll find the strength to forgive, or maybe I'll realize it's time to walk away. For now, all I can do is take it one day at a time, hoping that eventually, I'll find the answers I'm looking for.